Don't play with it, don't be dishonest.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, welcome back to the Hands Down Podcast with your host, Javid Nordell. And guys, today's episode is a banger. Super excited for today's episode. We're going to take a look at all the crazy madness. March Madness is here. The round of 64, the round of 32. So much madness, so much upsets. I love March Madness. It's absolutely insane. We'll take a look at the Sweet 16 and the matchups ahead as well. And guys, baseball has finally started. The Tokyo series started already ended between the Dodgers and the Cubs. Baseball is 3 days away technically from opening day. I could not be more excited about that. We're going to take a look into some of my bold and potentially maybe spicy predictions for this upcoming year. If you guys are new here, my name is Javid Nordell. This is the Hands Down Podcast where we talk sports hands-free. If you guys could give me a like, a follow, and any suggestions for any upcoming videos, I'll take those in the comments. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. Let's get into it. March Madness is always so entertaining. One of my favorite times of the year. I definitely am marking March on my calendars. It is such a fun month, especially as a sports fan. March and October are my two favorite months as a sports fan because in March, obviously, we have the NFL free agency frenzy going on, a lot of player movement, March Madness for basketball, men's and women's basketball. And then there's still basketball going on for the NBA, usually spring training, end of spring training, beginning of the season starts, end of March, usually beginning of April. So March is a fun time of the month. And then October, we have postseason for baseball going on, one of my favorite times of the year, if not my favorite time of the year. Football preseason usually is getting started, or you're headed into the early weeks of that. Basketball preseason, basketball early weeks are just getting started. Hockey's going on. Like, it's a fun, entertaining time. Those are my two favorite sport months as a sports fan. But March Madness, bro, it is so entertaining. Something about a single game elimination where you can be the league's best team, you can be a mid team, or you can be the worst team that made the bracket, and everybody has good chance. Like, it's a one game elimination. You can be a team that was all good all year and play one bad game, and you don't get past the second round, the third round, you don't make it to the Elite Eight, Final Four. Like, it's absolutely crazy. And we've already had our round of 64. We've already had our round of 32. We are down to the Sweet 16. There's only 6 teams left, and all of the games were very thrilling. They did not disappoint. Obviously, not all of the games were a nail-biter, but it was all fun in their own way. We're down to 16 teams, like I said. Those 16 teams being Florida, Duke, Bama, Michigan State, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Maryland, Arizona, Michigan, Purdue, BYU, Texas Tech, Arkansas, Houston, Auburn, and Tennessee. And all of those teams fully deserve to be into the Sweet 16 with the exception of Maryland. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But all of those teams played really good basketball, fundamental basketball, won their games pretty fair and square, like I said, except for Maryland. I'm excited for the Sweet 16. Like, if the round of 64 and the round of 32 was that good, I cannot wait for what the Sweet 16 has. The way I like to watch March Madness is crazy. I'm a crazy fanatic March Madness fan, as a lot of you guys are. I go crazy with it, okay? I watch it one of 3 ways. Specifically for the round of 64 and the round of 32, I don't like tuning into one game at a time. There's too much going on in the sports world of college basketball that I'm like, I can't just watch one game. It's not enough. There's so many games going on at one time. I'm like, I gotta see what else is going on. When it gets down to like the Elite 8, the Final 4, maybe even the Sweet 16, I'll kind of tune into one game at a time. But outside of that, I'm like, I gotta watch multiple games at a time. So the way I like to do it is I prefer to watch 4 games at a time. If I'm feeling risky and if there's a really good game, I'll put the good game on the big screen. I'll watch that game on the big screen, and then I'll tune into 4 games on another TV, right? That's kind of what I like to do. Watch 4 games on that one, obviously only listen to audio of one of the games, and then tune into the big game, the better game on the big screen TV. That's one of my favorite ways of watching it. That way I'm watching 5 games at one time, 4 games at one time, and I can see what's going on in all of March Madness, not just a couple games, The second way is I like to multitask. It's a crazy thing my brain does. Sometimes I'll play a game on the big screen, like an actual video game, or sometimes I'll put a movie on. Crazy shit, I know, but I'll put the movie on the little screen and then the 4 games on the big screen. Easier to watch that way, but nonetheless, I like to maneuver it that way to where I kind of got multiple things going on at one time. That's my favorite way to watch March Madness. I don't recommend it. It probably doesn't work for everybody, but it works for me. Like this year specifically, I either was watching 5 games at one time, 1 on the big screen, 4 on the little screen, or I put MLB The Show 25 on the big screen and was grinding that while watching 4 games on the little screen. Do I recommend it? Probably not. Is it resourceful for me? Absolutely. But round of 64, round of 32 did not disappoint. Let's talk about it. I want to recap rounds 1 and 2. I got to quickly give a shout out to McNeese and Drake. They ruined my bracket. I did not have them upsetting their teams in the first round, and they did. That definitely ruined my bracket. Kansas also ruined my bracket. I had Kansas going to the Sweet 16, and they lost in the first round. So that kind of sucked. But shout out to McNeese and shout out Drake, because I definitely didn't have them advancing, and they between them and Kansas, they said, nope, your bracket gonzo. But hey, nobody has a perfect bracket coming into the Sweet 16. I think going into the round of 32 second day, there was only 3 perfect brackets remaining. Now there's none, so I'm not the only one out there. Colorado State. I feel for Colorado State. I genuinely feel for Colorado State. They pulled off the upset in the round of 64, played a really good matchup, and bro, they gave it to Maryland. They was playing neck and neck with Maryland, and low-key, I think they kind of deserved the win there. The big question is, did Derek Queen travel on the final play? Derek Queen hit the game-winning shot to send Maryland to the Sweet 16, right? But if you go back and watch the tape, Derek Queen takes 3 steps. The argument you can make is he's gathering the ball in his first step. So it's a gather in 2 steps, but he 1000% took 3 steps. Kind of looks like a travel. I'm not going to say it is a travel, but I'm also not going to say it's not a travel. But I do feel for Colorado State. They played a really good game, played really good defense too, especially on Derek Queen, the bigger guy, and getting that shot off was just so unlucky for Colorado State. I think they deserve to go to the Sweet 16. Shout out Colorado State, though. They played really well, upsetting almost 2 matchups in the round of 64 and round of 32. Colorado State, I got to give my flowers to Colorado State. Baylor was an interesting one. Baylor played against, Mississippi State the first game. I expected Baylor to win that game, but Mississippi State gave Baylor a run for their money. Baylor, I thought Baylor was going to easily win that game, even being the lower seed. And when it's the 8-9 seed, it's really anybody's game. It's not really an upset as a 9 seed. I thought Baylor was the better team going into the game. They obviously won the game, but I think they underperformed in that game. And the way they performed in that game showed me a lot about how they was going to perform in the next round. I was specifically excited for them to go to the round of 32 because it was going to be Baylor and Duke, right? VJ Edgecombe, a Baylor, top prospect, NBA prospect. Cooper Flagg, top prospect, NBA prospect, right? Going at it. And dog, it wasn't. Duke manhandled them. Duke walked over them. I watched that game on the big screen, and 7 minutes into the game, Duke was already up by 16 points. Baylor couldn't get a shot to fall. They couldn't catch a cold if they wanted to. Their defense was atrocious. They wasn't running in transition. Duke was getting anything they wanted. Duke was going to the paint. Everything was dropping for Duke. And I was just like, okay, well, this was not the matchup that I expected between VJ Edgecombe and Duke. I ended up turning that game onto the side and put a different game on because I was like, it's not the matchup I wanted. It was still a fun matchup. I still enjoy watching Cooper Flagg play. Duke really has been dominating. And I have a bias towards Duke specifically this year because I have Duke winning it all and who I chose on my bracket, so I'm rooting for Duke. But I was very upset in Baylor and VJ Edgecombe in just the way they played. It was unfundamental basketball in both rounds. Vandy at St. Mary's game, that one was really fun. Vanderbilt gave St. Mary's a run for their money. That game was thrilling the entire way through. That was just a fun, enjoyable game to watch. I didn't really care on who won that game, honestly. If Vandy won, cool, it would have been a cool 10-7 upset. If St. Mary's won, big whoop. But it was a thriller game to watch. There wasn't anybody specifically that I was looking at on either of the teams. I'm a pretty casual watcher when it comes to March Madness, except for Gonzaga. Gonzaga's my favorite college basketball team, so I watch them a lot, or I know the players on their team. Duke, obviously a good team. Florida, any of the top seeds, I'll watch for their known players and upcoming draft prospects and everything. But everybody else, I'm kind of just casually watching, rooting for the underdog because it's a cool underdog story. But if it doesn't happen, I'm not opposed to it, And that's kind of how this game was. I was kind of rooting for Vandy, was hoping they would get the upset, but I wasn't mad. St. Mary's has had a really good season, so I wasn't mad what they did there. The Zags in Houston, though, that was a game I tuned into. I did not expect us to play that well versus Houston. I'm just going to say it. I do think we low-key should have been higher than what was we, an 8-9 seed. I do think we kind of got the bad end of the sword on our ranking. We had an interesting season. Obviously, we come into the season ranked, right? And then we had some good wins. We lost some. But then we had some games where I'm just like, brother, we lost that game, and then we lost again and again. Then we end up not getting ranked, and it kind of sucked. I feel like they should have been a little bit higher ranking. We ended the season rather really well, but there was a couple games that we did fumble, so I get where our ranking came from. But I was surprised with the fight that we put up against Houston. Houston's played really good ball all year, and we put up a decent fight. We never could, make it to where like I'm like, okay, we're actually gonna take this game from them, but like we gave it enough to where like, Houston's like, okay, we can't take our foot off the gas, obviously, but like that was it was an entertaining game. I was hoping the Zags could pull off the upset, but at the same time, I had Houston winning in my bracket, so I wasn't mad about that. And yes, I tried to pick off accuracy, not favoritism. And I also made 17 brackets. In like 2 of the brackets I made, I had Gonzaga winning, okay? So don't come at me, okay? This was one of my favorite matchups. Rick Pitino and John Calipari, 2 of the best collegiate coaches out there. Rick Pitino and St. John's had a really good year, obviously a 2 seed. John being the coach that he is, coaching Kentucky for as long as he did, and coming to the Razorbacks and coaching Arkansas this year and leading them to the Sweet 16. Kudos to John Calipari. Great on him for being able to do it with multiple franchises. A lot of different college coaches was kind of able to do that because BYU's coach went to Kentucky and led Kentucky to the Sweet 16. Kevin Young went from the Suns, being on the assistant to the Suns, to BYU, leading them to the Sweet 16. Then the Razorbacks obviously doing it, leading them to the Sweet 16. So coaching movement, they can do it in multiple places, and I love to see it. But this was a great matchup. But it's also one of those where, like I said, St. John's was a 2 seed. You can be one of those really good teams throughout the year, and you can just have a bad game. And that's what's going to hold you back. St. John's is known for their defense. They have a high defensive intensity, and they played what I kind of say is like defense wins you championship games in most sports, but like in a game of basketball where it's about pace, defense can get you only so far until you're going to have a fuck up or until you're going to do something, right? And especially in a single game elimination tournament, you want your defense to be solid and you want your defense to be good, but you cannot expect your defense to be flawless every game. And St. John's defense actually was pretty good. I can't say it was terrible defense, but offensively, they didn't look like the St. John's that I watched throughout the season. Their shot creation was horrible. Buckets wasn't falling. Their pace was really bad. Spacing wasn't amazing. Arkansas, on the other hand, did a lot better. St. John's kept it a game, especially throughout the second half, made some minor comebacks and made it semi-competitive. But like Arkansas could never get that dagger to make it like so far away. They kept it was always close enough where St. John's was just right there, but like it wasn't enough to one of the teams run away with it. So that was a fun matchup, seeing those 2 collegiate coaches going at it. BYU and Wisconsin, it was a very fun game. Albeit though, it was frustrating. I want Wisconsin to win that game, and BYU got off to a hot start. They was up like by 18, 11 minutes into the game, and I was just like, bro, Wisconsin, what are we doing? Like, we're the 3 seed here. BYU was walking over. They was getting any shot to fall. Their creation was good. 3 balls were falling for them. The pace was super fast for BYU. And then Wisconsin, just they was getting bad shots up. They couldn't get anything to fall. And shortly at next thing you know, you're down by 18 and everything's falling for BYU. And it kind of pissed me off. I switched the game off for a second to tune into Illinois and Kentucky at that time. But then when Illinois and Kentucky went into halftime, I was like, oh, hey, I see Wisconsin making a comeback in the corner. Let me tune back into that game. And, bro, they played a really good second half. BYU kind of almost fumbled the game because, like I said, had a really good first half, had about the 18-point lead in the first half. I think they was leading by 10 at halftime, and then almost fumbled that. Really good defense on the final possession. That was a bad shot by Wisconsin. I was a little disappointed. I don't know if that was the exact play that they drew up, coming into it, but I felt like there was a lot of different other baskets or shot creations that they could have went for, and they drove at the hoop, got stuffed, and tried to hit a fadeaway jumper. Bad shot creation, bad play call. I don't know if that was the play call. Maybe I got to give my props to BYU for playing really good defense on that, but And bro, BYU next year, AJ DeBonste, bro, I'm excited. I'm not a BYU fan, but I'm excited to watch BYU next year. And hey, as a Jazz fan, right, we're tanking for Cooper Flagg. Hypothetically, we tank and we get Cooper Flagg this year, and then we tank next year and we get AJ DeBostier or Cam Boozer, I would be a happy Jazz fan. Does that mean I have to suffer for 2 more years and watch the Jazz suck? Yes, but if we get 2 of those 3 players, I might be okay with it. Or if we get Jalen Harper this year, but I don't know if we are because of Derek Harper, or an Ace Bailey. If we can get if we can get a Cooper Flag, an Ace Bailey, or a Dylan Harper this year, and then if we can get an AJ DeBostier or a Cam Boozer next year, I'm okay with the rebuild and us sucking. But if we don't, bro, it's going to suck because the last good draft pick we had was Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, and heck, those weren't even our picks. They were Denver's picks technically. So, like, outside of that, we picked Trey Lyles, we picked Cody Williams. Like, we've not hit on our draft picks. Sorry, quick Jazz rant. But hoping we can do something if we're actually officially tanking and properly tanking. Which, also, on that note, have you guys seen the lineup the Jazz have thrown out there? We had Markkanen, didn't play. Again, we had Jordan Clarkson, came off the bench. We had Keontae George, came off the bench. We started Kyle Flipowski. We started Isaiah Collier, Bryce Sensabaugh. I'm just like, what are these lineups that we are throwing out there? Like, I get we're trying to tank, but we are taking tank to the next level. I mean, it makes sense that we got fined $100,000 the other day because Markkanen was fully healthy and he just didn't play. And like, we're tanked, like, we're obviously a bad team already. Even if they do play, like, what are we doing? Start them, play them 20 minutes, and then take them out. Heck, pull a Toronto Raptors and really try to lose the game, even if you're up by 9 against a bad team. Like, I don't care. Actually, I do care as much as you can see. I'm ranting about it. But, yeah, anyhow, back to BYU. I'm excited to see what BYU can do next year with AJ DeBostier. I'm excited to see how far they can go with Demon this year. I've enjoyed watching Demon this year. I've enjoyed watching Kevin Young coach that team too. Obviously, he's done a really good job coming over from the Suns last year, coming into BYU, coaching that team. So kudos to them too. I think the 2 best games that I watched was Oregon and Arizona. And then UConn and Florida. I'll get into that game in a second. But Oregon and Arizona was a fun game. It was the last game I watched on Sunday night. And it was a fun thriller. Caleb Love has been in the NCAA for so long. But he's a certified baller, bro. He's put Arizona on his back. Bro, that dribble handoff, Oregon could not stop it. They ran the dribble handoff where he comes over off a ball screen, a double ball screen. They ran the play like 4 times in a row, and Caleb Love cooked them every single time. I will say, like, towards the end of the game, Oregon finally found out how to stop it. They doubled it, forced him to move the ball, and they actually got a turnover. So they eventually found out how to stop it, but all game they could not stop the dribble handoff over the 2 screens. And Caleb Love was a shooter. His shot was just so pure. But that game, I fully tuned into that one, put it on the big screen, right? And the second half of that game, I kid you not, was like 30 to 45 minutes. It was such a masterclass of a chess matchup where it was a matchup game. Arizona's forward, Awaka, was in foul trouble. I think he had 3 fouls in the first half, didn't play a lot of the second half. He came in and got his 4th foul. He played like 22 minutes, and it was super crazy because, like, even towards like the last 2 minutes of the game, he didn't come into the game because of how much foul trouble he was in, and I found that very shocking. Obviously affected Arizona for their game plan and who they wanted to run through and how they wanted to play their scheme. But it was like the last 4 minutes of the game was just a chess matchup, offensive, defensive substitutions. Who do you want to shooting free throws? Who do you want in for defensive possessions? Who do you want in for offensive play calling? Like, there were so many substitutions in the final 4 minutes of the game that that's basketball that I like. It's kind of like baseball, when it's a chess game of, okay, if you do this, I'm going to do this. And if you do that, you're thinking 5 plays ahead. And I absolutely love that. I will say it kind of did suck because I'm like, okay, the last 4 minutes of that game, I kid you not, was 25 minutes. And I just wanted the game to end because I figured Arizona was going to win. But I will say Oregon made it close. Oregon did a really good job. And, bro, Oregon's shot selection, I was very disappointed because you had a chance to go down and tie it, and you threw a baby hook kind of up, and I just was very disappointed because in that shot selection, because they took about 10-15 seconds, almost 20 seconds of the shot clock just in an ISO in the corner, right? And then you kind of go and attack that, and if you would have went earlier in the shot clock and kind of went for that shot and then realized, hey, I got bodied here, I'm not going to be able to get this, let me kick it out, right? So much more opens. You probably can tie the game. But he gets bodied, and he's like, okay, well, let me do a spin and hook shot. And it just, I was disappointed in their shot selection there. I felt like they shouldn't have went to the big man. I felt like they should have went to a wing, should have went to a guard in that play. But hey, that's why I just watch basketball, right? Then This game obviously was an earlier game. It wasn't the final game of the day. The final game of the day was Oregon and Arizona. But UConn and Florida was, I think, the best game that I've watched thus far. It was the most entertaining game. It was a thrilling game. The stakes were high. Obviously, UConn going for a three-peat, won back-to-back championships. Dan Hurley went back to coach UConn this year. He turned down a 6-year, $70 million deal to coach the Los Angeles Lakers this year. He said, nah, fam, I think I can three-peat with UConn. I want to go back. I want to coach UConn. I want to bring them the three-peat that they deserve. And UConn had kind of a shitty year, not going to lie. They had some big losses early in the year that nobody was kind of expecting, dropped out of the top rank early in the year, and then kind of just were floating around. I kind of had them as a dark horse team coming into the tournament because obviously have winning their last 7, 6, 8 games in the tournament. So having really good tournament success, obviously winning the past 2 years, I'm like, they're not a team to fuck around with. But Florida's been one of the best teams in all of basketball, and it was absolute cinema. The Huskies actually controlled a lot of this game. Huskies were up for a lot of the game. I think they was up like by 10 at halftime, and they was controlling the pace. Their defense was really good, but the Gators were staying like just close enough. It wasn't they was never falling back to where like the Huskies could run away with it, but they never could catch that break that they needed to catch up to the Huskies until like 5 minutes until the game was over. The momentum completely switched. About this 3 to 6 minute mark, momentum completely shifted. Their defense was immaculate. They was getting stops. UConn was making some very questionable decisions. I think they ran the pace a little too quick as well, where you need to slow it down and shave some time off that clock, right? And then the Gators were able to get the lead, and then they just ran like the last 3 minutes. They just completely switched, flopped the storyline of the game, took control, and ran away with it. And I would love to see Dan Hurley get the three-peat. I'm not gonna lie, that was gonna be, it would have been fun, but like because UConn had won the last 2, I didn't want to see UConn win. So I was very glad to see the Gators end up getting the win, but that by far was the most exciting game. The intensity was high, like I said, so much at stakes for UConn, so much at stake for Florida too, the Gators being the 1 seed, but that game was very entertaining. I was very happy that the Gators were able to pull away with it, and like I said, we're down to the Sweet 16. Sweet 16, I am beyond excited for. We got some good matchups too, like BYU and Alabama. I got BYU. Like obviously my bracket's fucked. There's I'm pretty sure my percentage on is like 70.33, so I can't like predict anymore. And obviously I actually had VCU upsetting BYU. I know, come at me, I'm a hater. So I can't really predict what's gonna go on in my bracket. But Duke is still my winner in my bracket, so I have that to look forward to. But from what I've seen in BYU, the 2 games I've watched, they're legit. Bama's legit too, but like I really enjoyed the pace that BYU was playing with. Kevin Young is doing some really good things over there. I wouldn't be shocked if BYU upset Alabama. Maryland and Florida is going to be a great matchup. Like I said, Maryland's really good. They got Derek Queen. He's a top prospect for the NBA this year too. I love watching him play, but I don't think Maryland should be here. I think he traveled. Okay, I don't know if he traveled, but like he took 3 steps. I can't say that first step was a gather, so I am saying he traveled. But I think Colorado State deserves to be here. But regardless, I do think Florida is going to win this game. I wouldn't be mad if Maryland won it, but I think Maryland got lucky for them being here. I'm excited to see Arizona and Duke. I think if there's a team that can potentially upset Duke before, like, you know, the Elite 8 Final Four, well, obviously Elite 8 being next round, but like that, Arizona would be that team. They have obviously a history with each other. I don't see Arizona upsetting them, but like, dude, you got to watch out because Arizona's that good of a team. Arkansas and Texas Tech, that's going to be a fun one. I know they're the lower seed as the 10 seed, but John Calipari, he just has way too much success in March Madness. He knows how to coach specifically in March Madness, and he's one of the greatest collegiate coaches out there. Like, I think he's going to have a good run. And that's our Thursday slated games. Our Friday slated games is Ole Miss and Michigan State. That's going to be a fun one. I got Michigan State going pretty far, though, so I think Michigan State's going to win that. Kentucky and Tennessee, that game, I'm 100%. I mean, I'm tuned into all of these games, but that game, I'm specifically big game screen TV. I'm excited to watch that one. Michigan and Auburn is another fun one, too. The one thing I don't like about Michigan, though, is they play with such a, at least in my opinion and in the games I've watched, they play with such a slow pace. And it is so hard because in March Madness, I think the more pace you play with and the faster pace and the higher pace, it's all about pace. And that's how it is in basketball. The better you can play in pace, the more you're going to be successful. And Michigan, I just feel like they try to have a defensive identity and don't have the pace. And it doesn't work out for them. Obviously, it's worked out for them to now. I don't see it working out for them past now. And then Purdue and Houston. Low-key, I got Purdue upsetting Houston. Am I upset that Houston upset Gonzaga? Not really upset Gonzaga beat Gonzaga, yes, but I saw that happening. I think Houston's a fraudulent team. They're a good team. I didn't see the Zags beating them. I was glad the Zags gave them a run for their money, but like the fact that the Zags played that well against them, if they have another game similar to that, I could see Purdue upsetting Houston. That's March Madness for you, though. Round of 32, round of 64, so entertaining. I cannot wait for the Sweet 16. These matchups are absolutely going to be fire. And like I said, my bracket winner is still intact. As long as Duke still is there, we are good. But let me know what you guys think on your March Madness, how your bracket's doing. Let me know. That's my March Madness for you. Okay. That's enough madness for one day, guys. We're going to switch gears into baseball. Baseball, guys. I know I talked about this a couple weeks back, but baseball is here. We are officially almost, T-minus 4 days away from opening day. We've technically already had the opening series. We had the Tokyo series between the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Chicago Cubs, and that was a fun series. Great marketing strategy by the MLB. I got to give them that, especially obviously with those 5 players. It makes the most sense, and I see that being a foreseeable opening if we continue to have a trend of a Tokyo series to start the season. I see that being the Cubs and the Dodgers for this foreseeable future. The fact that there's Sasaki, Ohtani, Yamamoto, and then we have Managua and Seiya Suzuki of the Cubs. Like you are getting so much worldwide attention, and then specifically so much attention from Japan that just makes the most sense. And this series itself was very entertaining. Ohtani popped off. He had 2 hits, a couple runs scored. Yamamoto threw 5 strong innings, and I was very impressed with his first outing. And baseball is so back. I could not be more excited about it. I know, 2-3 episodes back, I talked about kind of like my predictions for division winners. Well, today we're going to jump into the whole shebang. We're going to get into the MVP, AL and NL. We're going to get into the Cy Young, AL and NL. We're going to get into the Rookie of the Year, AL and NL. We're going to get into my playoff predictions. That is the Wild Card, Division Series, Championship Series, and the World Series, guys. I could not be more excited for baseball. I'm so excited to tune into so many baseball games this year. But that being said, let's get into the whole shebang. Starting off with MVPs, okay? AL MVP, NL MVP. Here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to give you my prediction for the MVP. I'm going to give you a dark horse candidate, and then I'm going to give an honorable mention. I will kind of go into detail. It needs a detail on why I think that. But that being said, AL MVP shouldn't be too hard. It's Aaron Judge. I would be shocked if Aaron Judge didn't win the American League MVP. He played a really good year last year and had Juan Soto on his team and performed as well as he did. I expect him to be that type of player, if not better, this year. And if he was that type of player last year, there's no shot he doesn't win it this year. Aaron Judge is 1,000% going, barring an injury of any kind, Aaron Judge is going to win the American League MVP. I don't see a world where he doesn't. Now, if he doesn't, the dark horse that I do have, call me crazy on this one, if we can see a full, healthy season out of Mike Trout, I think Mike Trout is still an MVP candidate. Obviously, we've not been able to see a full, healthy season out of Trout for 3, 4, 5 years now. It's been a minute. But when Trout is healthy, he is one of the best players. And it's even in past years, like Trout starts off the season really good. He's in MVP form, but then he'll usually do something to his wrist or his hip or something like that. He turns into the Anthony Davis of basketball and just gets injured and then isn't able to finish the season. But if we actually, like at the Angels, moving him to right field, maybe occasionally DHing him, if they can play their cards right and Trout can stay healthy, maybe not be so aggressive on the bases, maybe try not to steal as much. But if he can stay healthy and still maybe get you 20 bags, if he can stay healthy though, I think Trout is still a great player, one of the greatest baseball players we've seen. And don't forget, this is a Mike Trout that, like, if Miguel Cabrera didn't exist 7-8 years ago, Mike Trout would have already had like 4 MVPs. The only reason Mike Trout doesn't have as many MVPs as he should have is because Miguel Cabrera took one when he got the Triple Crown, and then he took one again the next year. Mike Trout should have won those. Mike Trout was putting up legendary numbers those years, but because Miguel Cabrera existed, he didn't get it. So, like, Mike Trout is still a great player. Obviously, I know he's older, but I think if healthy, Mike Trout is still one of the greatest baseball players there is. And then my honorable mention, and it's not a big honorable mention. Like it's no crazy thing. Bobby Witt Jr. I'm super excited to watch Bobby Witt Jr. He's one of the young up and coming players that I'm super excited to watch. He obviously had his breakout year last year, and I only expect him to continue to flourish. I'm really excited to see what Bobby Witt Jr. can do. The Royals, having had their success that they've had recently too, I'm excited to see the direction that he can move their franchise into. He's got speed, he's got power. He's exactly what you want for a shortstop. I really like what Bobby Witt can do. If Judge happens to not have a good season, or if he has battles injuries, and if Trout can't stay healthy, and if he's not, the 1A type player that we all know he can be, I would not be shocked if Bobby Witt Jr., assuming he stayed healthy, won MVP. He's got the defensive arm, the defensive specialties to get a gold glove. And then offensively, he's got the power, he's got the speed. He's just the type of player that you would want to win MVP. So that's my AL MVP side. NL MVP is almost just as obvious. It's Shohei Ohtani, especially if Ohtani plays both sides of the ball. If he's hitting and pitching this year, there's no world that Ohtani doesn't win. He could have a mediocre year pitching and hitting and still would win the MVP, or vice versa. He could go legendary in pitching and have a mediocre year in hitting, which we all know he's not going to, and I still think he would win MVP. As long as Ohtani stays healthy, he's going to win MVP. Heck, he could probably win it just based off one of them, but the fact that he's doing both of them, he has an extreme advantage. He could go 12-10 with a 3.46 ERA, bat 277, hit 36 homers, 118 RBIs, and I think he'd win MVP. Like, that's how good of a player Ohtani is. If he can give you that stat line, he's going to win MVP. I don't see a world, unless Ohtani doesn't pitch a good chunk of the year, or Ohtani gets injured and doesn't bat a good chunk of the year, I don't see a world where Ohtani doesn't win MVP. As unfortunate as it is, I would love to see like my favorite player, Ronald Acuna Jr., come back and win an MVP, right? I don't see that happening. He's not going to come back until mid-May. So I don't see that happening. And if Ohtani's healthy, he's already been starting off the year strong, I don't see a world where he doesn't. My dark horse, it's Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper, I think, is going to go on a tear this year. I think we're about to see the best Bryce Harper that we've ever seen, because he was in his TikTok era, before the season started. And if that's any sense of what he's going to be this year, dark horse Bryce Harper MVP season lining up, I think he's going to go ballistic this year. I think he's going to get 40 tanks. I think he's going to get 120 RBIs. I think he might even steal 15 bags. Like, I would say if there's anybody that has a chance to give Ohtani a run for his money, it would be Harper. Let's get to my honorable mention. It's Juan Soto. He just got paid $765 million. You don't get paid $765 million to not be a top 3 baseball player in the NL side of it. Between Shohei Ohtani, Bryce Harper, or Juan Soto, one of those 3 players are going to win MVP. I expect it to be Ohtani. I think Harper is going to have a massive year. I think the Phillies are going to be underrated throughout most of the year, but have still a really strong team. They have a really good pitching rotation with Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler. They have a really good lineup. I wish they would switch their lineup and put Trey Turner at the top of the lineup. I think you need to switch that. That's in my opinion. But I think Harper is about to go ballistic this year. And then Juan Soto, like I said, he just got paid $765 million. He gets paid more money than Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani signed a $700 million contract last year to play 2 positions, to DH, play outfield, and pitch if you put him in the outfield. I doubt they put him in the outfield, but he could do that, right? And he got $700 million. And you're telling me Juan Soto gets $765 million and he only plays 1 position? That's absolutely crazy. Now, albeit Juan Soto probably is the best eyes in the league and his plate discipline is absolutely amazing, but $765 million? Damn, that's crazy. I still think that's crazy. But those are the 3 that one of those 3 for the NL side of it. It's got to be Ohtani, it's got to be Harper, it's got to be Soto. And by the way, all of them coming in the NL East. I think the AL, and I said this in a couple videos back, I think the AL East and the NL East are going to be the 2 best divisions. We got the Braves, we got the Phillies, and we got the Mets. That's going to be a very competitive division. And on the AL side of things, you got the Orioles, you got the Red Sox, you got the Yankees. I expect them all to make the postseason. Then you got the Blue Jays and the Rays. Very competent teams. Those are going to, I think, maybe, I guess time will only tell, but I think those are going to be the strongest divisions in both sides of baseball this year. AL side of MVP, Judge, if Judge has just a decent year, he's going to win MVP. If Trout can stay healthy, I wouldn't be shocked. And then Bobby Witt Jr. is an up-and-coming player. I would love to see Bobby Witt Jr. win MVP. Let's go into the Cy Youngs. I got Garrett Crochet new team, new regimen, and I really like what he's got going on. Obviously, he was an ace on Chicago, and he pitched really well, and he's coming into a better organization. He's coming into a winning organization. He's coming into Boston. I think Boston's going to be a great park for him to pitch at, too. I think he can get you a solid 17, 18 wins. I think he's going to get you a sub-3 ERA, maybe 3.15 ERA. I think Garrett Crochet is going to be really solid this year. I think Boston has the offense to back him up, and I see Garrett Crochet winning that. The dark horse that I got is the best pitcher in all of baseball, Tarik Skubal. The only reason I don't have Skubal winning it is because he doesn't have the offensive production that Garrett Crochet is going to have. So I think Skubal can, 16 wins, but I don't know how many wins the Tigers can provide run support wise behind him. So I don't know how many extra wins he can get. For instance, I trust Boston's offense significantly more than I trust Detroit's offense, and that is the reason I think Garrett Crochet is going to get 5 to 6 more wins, and I think that's going to be enough to propel him into the Cy Young. Logan Gilbert of the Seattle Mariners. Seattle on paper has the best pitching staff in all of baseball, not just the AL, in all of baseball. And Logan Gilbert pitched 200 innings last year, and he had 200 strikeouts. I could see him getting you 200 innings pitched, 198 strikeouts, 17 wins, 4 losses with a 3.1 ERA. The big thing with that is, similarly to the Tigers, I just don't know if the Mariners offense can give him that run support that he needs. They got the pitching. They got good defense behind him. You can argue, obviously, J-Rod back there. Cal Raleigh, just as I recorded this day, signed an extension, 6-year, $100 million, I think is what I read. So they got that going on for him. They don't have that offensive firepower that I think that Boston has that's going to propel them to get the run support. But those are the three I have. Garrett Crochet, but look out for Skubal, and then obviously Gilbert. Like the three of the best pitchers in the American League side of it. I don't see a world where somebody comes up and flanks that. Maybe there is, maybe there's not. Maybe a healthy Jacob deGrom. He's if he can pitch a full season, he can be healthy. I could maybe see him making a run for it, but it's one of those three. It's got to be. And the NL side of it, I don't know how this guy hasn't won one yet, bro. Zach Wheeler is due for a Cy Young, bro. Zach Wheeler has been one of the most consistent pitchers in like the past 5 years, arguably the past 3 years, arguably the best pitcher of the past 3 years. His stats over the past 3 years is 29-13, has almost a sub-3 ERA. It's 3.08, and he has 436 strikeouts. He's going to give you 200 innings a year. He's going to get you 200 strikeouts a year. He can pitch deep into a game. He can give you six innings every outing. He can maybe even give you 7, maybe even give you 8. Like, I don't know how Zach Wheeler has not won a Cy Young award yet. He is due for one. I think this is the year that he gets it. Philly has a really good roster, as they have had for the past couple of years, but I think this is where he gets over the edge. So my dark horse is Spencer Strider. Spencer Strider, obviously me being a Braves fan, I might be slightly biased here, but let me just read you Spencer Strider's stats. And keep in mind, Spencer Strider did not pitch last year. He had Tommy John surgery and only made 2 starts last year, right? Spencer Strider, in the last 3-4 years, but 3 years because he didn't pitch last year, is 31-10. He has a 3.47 ERA. He has 495 strikeouts. I'm just going to say that again. 495 strikeouts in 3 years of baseball, practically. And like I said, that's missing last year. Yu Darvish was the quickest starting pitcher to get to 500 strikeouts. He did it in 62 starts, 400 innings. Strider is about to blow him out of the water on that. He is about to surpass that so much. Strider right now is at 54 starts, 329 innings, and he's at 495 strikeouts. Next time Strider takes an outing, he should get his 500 strikeout mark, which is going to put him at 55 starts and 37 something odd innings to do. He is on a remarkable run for this. Keep in mind, Strider is what came second to his teammate Michael Harris for Rookie of the Year a couple years back, right? And then he had a really good season his sophomore season. Could have been up there for Cy Young and was the favorite to win it last year before he went down. A fully healthy season of Spencer Strider, who, by the way, looked really good in his spring training outing. He came back, not pitched in 346 days, found 6 out of 8 batters, 9 batters that he saw. He was electric, and that is the type of player. And that's not me being biased. Okay, it's probably me being biased, but it's not me trying to be biased. Like, I've watched a lot more Strider than I have any other pitcher, but he's an electric pitcher to watch. His stats back it up. 31-10, 3.47 ERA. That's higher than Zack Wheeler's, but a 3.47 ERA is not bad. This is a pitcher that can give you a sub-3 ERA. I'm just saying, and then 495 strikeouts. Like, if Zack Wheeler falls off in any way, shape, or form, and Spencer Strider has a fully healthy season, I expect Spencer Strider and Zack Wheeler to be up there back and forth for the Cy Young. And then my honorable mention goes to the guy everybody's expecting to win it, Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens had an amazing rookie year. He's been phenomenal since he came into the league. Bro added 2 pitches this year. I expect him to be better than he was last year. And you might ask, Javid, how do you expect him to be better than he was last year but not win the Cy Young? Because I also expect Strider and Zack Wheeler to be better than they were last year. Obviously, Strider didn't play, so he has that advantage. But I also think he's going to have a minor sophomore slump. Now, I'm not going to say he's going to have a terrible sophomore season like a CJ Stroud and football type shit, but I feel like batters are going to figure him out a little bit more. I don't think he's still obviously going to be an electric pitcher, and he's going to pitch deep into the game. He's going to give you 6, 7, 8 every outing. But I think there's going to be a couple games that he might give up 7 runs. He might give up 6 runs. He might give up 5 runs. I think later in the year, I don't think he can sustain it throughout the year. He might be lights out electric through April, May, June, but I don't expect him to stay as electric through July and August. I expect him still to be great through that entire time. I still think he's a favorite to win Cy Young. I just think Zack Wheeler and Spencer Strider have the potential to do more, and I think they're going to be on better teams too, and that also helps. Paul Skeens being a really good pitcher, but he's on the Pittsburgh Pirates. I don't know how well the Pirates are going to have success this year. I don't have them making the postseason. I don't see them making a postseason run. Zack Wheeler and Spencer Strider are on significantly better teams, and I see both the Braves and the Phillies make it to the postseason, so that kind of partially gives them an advantage there. I will say though, I am intrigued to see how Ohtani pitches this year. I don't think Ohtani is gonna be a top candidate for Cy Young. I think Ohtani's gonna I think he's gonna do like maybe a 15-7, 14-8. He's gonna have a 3.65 ERA, which is still really good. I mean, I'm excited to see how Ohtani's gonna come back. Obviously not pitching last year, having not pitched in a minute, similarly to Strider. But it's going to be interesting to see how he does. But I feel like he's going to take his offensive approach, batting approach, more than he takes his pitching approach this year. So I don't have Ohtani as a Cy Young favorite this year, but I low-key wouldn't be shocked if he made it in there. But in a world where you got Spencer Strider, Paul Skeens, and Zack Wheeler, there's so much potential going on out there. That's not even including a Logan Webb, who's a really good pitcher for the Giants. Not even including a Blake Snell for the Dodgers, who I think Blake Snell might freaking go crazy on the Dodgers. Like there's so much that can happen, but I think it's between those 3. I think Zack Wheeler's due for Cy Young, but Spencer Strider's going to be right there. I think it's going to be neck and neck between them two. And then, like I said, Garrett Crochet, he's got the better offensive support on his side. He's going to get more run support, and he's playing on a better team in Boston. I see him getting the Cy Young on the AL side of it. As for Rookie of the Years, all right, and the AL side of it, if Roman Anthony can play just enough to qualify for it, if he gets called up, he plays a good chunk of the season, I don't see a world where he doesn't win Rookie of the Year. I can't wait for the Red Sox to call him up. I'm excited for the day that they actually call him up and he plays, but I think Roman Anthony's going to go crazy. I've enjoyed watching him in both AA, AAA, I really think he's going to have a great year. I think he's going to come up and start raking immediately. I think he's going to come up, he's going to be really good. I don't necessarily think he's going to have a slump. I think he might come up to really good, have like a couple weeks where he's not like going to be, going 3 for 5 every game, but might go like a 1 for 5, 2 for 5, 1 for 4, 2 for 4 type shit. But I think he's going to stay consistent. Outside of Roman Anthony, Jackson Jobe. I think he's going to have the most opportunity outside of Roman Anthony. Detroit is an amazing place right now to be a young up-and-coming star because there's so much potential there. He has opportunities that the potential is through the roof. So if Roman Anthony is kind of just consistent, or if he drops and dips below consistent, I could see Jackson Jobe going up there and getting that Rookie of the Year. But those are the two that I see on the rookie side of it. I don't necessarily have an honorable mention on the AL side of it because I feel pretty strong about the Rookie of the Year being one of those two players. On the NL side of it, it's similar. I don't have an honorable mention as well. It's Rokai Sasaki, and there's no questions about it. He is gonna, as long as he is consistent and pitches 20 starts, I think he wins it. I don't see a world unless he doesn't get enough games or unless he gets injured. As long as he has more wins than losses, I think he's a pretty good lock for Rookie of the Year. Now, if he goes like 10-14 with a 5.41 ERA, maybe not. But I don't see that happening in any universe. I will say, Dylan Crews, he's the dark horse. I would love to see Dylan Crews win Rookie of the Year, and I think if there's so much potential, there's so much opportunity in Washington that he low-key could. If Sasaki is that mediocre, maybe say he's 14-11 with a 4.1 ERA, and Dylan Crews comes in and gets 20 homers, 15 steals, something like that, I could see Dylan Crews winning that. He's balled out in the minors, and then last year when he got called up for the end of the season, I liked what I saw out of Dylan Crews. I'm excited to see what Dylan Crews can be. He's a great outfielder. I think if Sasaki, if he doesn't have a winning season, I think Dylan Crews could win Rookie of the Year. I don't see a world where he doesn't have a winning season. I mean, he has his pitch types. He has 5 pitches, and then he's playing on the Dodgers, arguably the best offense behind him. He's gonna get his run support. I don't see any Dodger pitcher getting a losing record unless you're obviously coming out of the bullpen. Like, I think all the starting 5 is going to have a winning record. That's how good the Dodgers are this year. So, Rookie of the Year, Roman Anthony or Jackson Jobe for the AL side. NL side, it's Sasaki or it's Dylan Crews. I know, nothing crazy. Okay. That being said, those are my predictions, right? Let's get into the playoffs. I made some wild takes. Are they biased because I'm a Braves fan? Maybe. We'll get into that. All right. Start off with the 1 seed in the NL. It's going to be the Dodgers. No if what's or buts about it. They have the best team in baseball. They're going to have the best record in baseball. They're going to be the 1 seed. AL side of things is going to be New York. The Yankees have the best roster. On the AL side of things, I don't see them knocking in that 1 seed. LA Dodgers, New York Yankees, previous World Series matchups, they're going to have the 1 seeds across things. All right. 2 seeds. That's where it gets a little crazy. On the AL side of things, I got the Seattle Mariners as my 2 seed. Yep. The Seattle Mariners as my 2 seed. I think they're gonna. They have such a good pitching rotation where I think their pitching rotation leads them to a lot of regular season wins. Is it going to get playoff success? We'll find out. But I think their pitching rotation is gonna lead them, and their offensive firepower that they have is gonna lead them to just enough to get in that 2 seed. And like that division with you got Houston in that division. I don't expect Houston to be as competitive this year with everybody they've lost. Texas, I think, is going to have a bounce back, but I don't think they're going to have a great year. And then I expect those teams to be better than a Detroit or Kansas City or Cleveland. Whoever wins that Central Division, I expect them to have a better record. So call me crazy, but I got the Mariners on the 2 seed. And then I got the Braves. And that's not me being biased to the Braves at the 2 seed. The Braves generally have a really good offense. I know they didn't win the division last year. First time their winning streak was stopped in 6-7 years they won the NL East. And I know the Phillies have gotten better. I know the Mets exist, but like, keep in mind the Braves won 89 games and made the postseason last year with all their injuries last year, with Acuna missing second half of the season, with Strider not playing, with Riley going on the IL, with Albies going on the IL, with Murphy going on the IL. Like, they had so many injuries all throughout the season. Michael Harris was even on the IL, and they still managed to get 89 wins. I mean, they got freaking bounced by the Padres. They looked like cheeks in the postseason, but they had so many injuries where, I mean, heck, Chris Sale wasn't even on our postseason roster, and he won the Cy Young. I expect them to be fully healthy this year, and when fully healthy, they was the team that we saw when Ronald Acuna Jr. won MVP. They was the team that we saw that had that firepower, that Matt Olson can hit 50 homers. They were the team that can have the best high-powering offense out there, and I expect them to get back to that this year. Is that me being a little biased and hoping for that? Maybe a little bit, but I also think it's in the world of possibilities. So I got the Braves as 2 seed, Dodgers as 1 seed, Mariners 2 seed, Yankees as 1 seed. All right, wild card matchups. Let's get into it. AL side of things, I got Cleveland as the 3 seed, Boston at the 6 seed. I got Boston taking down Cleveland. Cleveland's got a good roster, but Boston's just got a much better roster. Garrett Crochet, like I said, I expect him to win Cy Young this year. I really like Jarren Duran. He's a certified baller. He really flourished his last year. I expect him to be just as good, if not better, this year. The additions of Alex Bregman, really like that for Boston. I think Boston could go far. I got Boston over Cleveland. And then I got Baltimore over Texas. Texas. Baltimore has kind of been iffy, wishy-washy. I think their best chance to win was last year when they had a Corbin Burns, when they had an Anthony Santander. I think that was their best chance at winning it. Their window's still open, but I think that was the best roster they could have done it with. But I do think they get past the first round this time. Obviously, having won in the division the past couple of years, but not getting much postseason success, I think they have a little bit more postseason success this year. I think Texas is going to have a solid offense, but I don't know how well that can go into the postseason. I could see Baltimore going over Texas. And it's what, 5-4 matchup, 4-5 matchup. Is it really an upset? You tell me. On the NL side of things, I got the D-backs as the 6 seed, Brewers as the 3 seed, Mets and the Phillies as the 4-5. I got the D-backs upsetting the Brewers. Like I said, the D-backs have a really good roster. When you can throw out a Merrill Kelly as your 3, a Zach Gallen as a 2, or even a 1, and put Corbin Burns as a 2, that's up there with the Mariners as one of the best rosters out there pitching-wise. And when you can set that up in a wild card matchup as a 1, 2, 3, it's going to be really hard to beat, and especially if you're facing a Milwaukee Brewers. I don't see the Brewers able to beat that. Arizona's got a really good pitching staff. I don't expect Corbin Carroll to be as bad as he was last year. I know he forgot how to hit a baseball. I think he remembered. I expect him to have more of a rookie-type season that he had. I really like the addition of Josh Naylor. I really like to see what he can do. I'm excited to watch Arizona play this year. I mean, they made a World Series run a couple years back. I think they could do the same here. Will they do the same? I don't know, but I know they're getting past the first round. I got Philly over New York. You just paid Juan Soto $765 million for what? $765 million just to lose in the first round. But hey, at least you made it to the first round. It's not like one of those years where what was it? They got Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom paid $200 million plus and didn't even make the postseason. So at least it's not one of those scenarios. At least you're making the playoffs. But I think, like I said, Bryce Harper is going to go on a ballistic tear this year. I think Philly is going to go back into the form they was when they should have went to World Series a couple years back when the Diamondbacks did. I think that the Phillies are going to be a team not to mess with. I think they look really good this year. I have the Phillies over the Mets. So that's my wild card. Division series. Give me Boston over Seattle. Like I said, Seattle has a really good team. Their pitching led them to the postseason, but I think you need more offensive firepower in the postseason, and I don't think their pitching is going to be enough. Seattle is going to come just short, and hey, maybe they add a trade deadline acquisition, get a better bat in the lineup, but until then, I don't think they're going to get too far much in the postseason. I think it's going to be one of those teams that can have really good regular season success, but not too much postseason success, and Boston's just a better team. I see Boston surpassing Seattle, moving on to the championship series. And on the other side of it, you got the Yankees and Baltimore. Baltimore, like I said, had a good run. I think their window was last year. They still have a good, competent team, but the Yankees are just such a good team. They lost Juan Soto, and they replaced him with a Cody Bellinger, with a Max Fried, with a Devin Williams. Like, they got so much after just losing one player. Their roster looks really good. Arguably the best team in the AL. Arguably one of the best teams in baseball. I don't see the Yankees not making it to the championship series. So I got the Yankees over Baltimore. In the NL side of things, it sucks. Bryce's ballistic tear is going to come to an end, and it's only because he has to face the Dodgers. If he faced any other team, I think he might surpass them, but you're facing the best team in the country. You're facing one of the best pitching staffs. You're facing the best offense out there, and Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler can only do so much. That's a great 1-2 punch to throw at them, but they don't got the rest of the help, and Bryce can only do so much. The Dodgers, I mean, you got Mookie Betts, you got Freddie Freeman, you got Yamamoto, you got Ohtani, you got Sasaki, you got Blake Snell. Like, should I continue Teoscar Hernandez? Like there's so many dominant players on that team. I don't see how they lose in the divisional round. So I got the Dodgers over the Phillies. And then I got the Braves over the Diamondbacks. I genuinely think the Braves have the better team in this matchup. They can match up with them pitching. Obviously, like I said, the Diamondbacks probably have the better 1-2-3 in a Merrill Kelly, in a Zach Gallen, and in a Corbin Burns. But the Braves have a Chris Sale and Spencer Strider that you can match up against 2 of those. Reynaldo Lopez against 3 of them. All you need is 1 or 2 out of those. And I would take a Chris Sale over Zach Gallen. And I would take Spencer Strider over Corbin Burns. Or swap it the other way around, I would take the Braves pitchers over those 2 as well. I will say, I would take a Merrill Kelly over Reynaldo Lopez, but We'll see. And then the Braves' firepower offensively, like I said, they battled so many injuries last year, not having Austin Riley full season, not having Ozzie Albies full season, not having Sean Murphy. I think we should be fully healthy at this time. I don't expect us to have the type of offense that we had 2 years ago, but I expect us to be damn near close to that offense. I expect Matt Olson to have a bounce back. I expect Austin Riley to have a bounce back. I expect Ozzie Albies to play better this year. I expect Ronald Acuna to obviously not be his MVP form, but I expect him to be really good, and that's going to get us enough to a date with the Los Angeles Dodgers in the championship series. So we got the championship series. We got Boston and New York, a good old classic. And then we got the Dodgers and the Braves. Everybody's going to hate me for this one. Let's start with the AL side of things. Chris, specifically, you're going to hate me for this one. Come at me, hate me, I don't care. I got Boston over New York. I said it. Boston is going to beat New York. Aaron Judge is going to bat atrocious. He's going to bat .222. He's going to have 7 strikeouts, and he's not even going to hit a dinger. Okay, he's probably going to hit 1 dinger. But New York is not going to surpass Boston. I think this is partially me being biased, but I really think Boston has a really good lineup. I love what Jarren Duran is doing. I love the addition of Alex Bregman. Alex Cora is a really good coach over there. I think he's better than Aaron Boone, especially when it comes to decision making. And I see Boston over New York in 7. Like I said, Chris, come at me. I'm kidding. Or do. I don't care. And then in the NL side of things, obviously I'm going to partially be biased, but I also think the Braves are the best team that has a chance to take down the Dodgers. We match up with them when it comes to pitching, and then offensively we match up with them when it comes to hitting. And am I being biased in what I'm about to say? Yes. Do I care? No. I got the Braves over the Dodgers in 6. Yes, I said it. 6, not even 7. 6. We beat them a couple years back when we made it to the World Series. We always are good at giving them a run for their money. And I think that we're gonna show that, hey, you can go spend $1 billion on 2 players, but it's not gonna be enough. Go spend $2 billion. Go spend $3 billion. Heck, I think Acuna is gonna have an electric October. He's been upset that he's not been able to. He won his MVP, and we got bounced by Philly in the first round, right? And then the year that we won it, he was injured. I know he wants to have a ring that he actually contributes to, and that's exactly what he's going to do to this year, because the Braves are going to advance to the World Series to face Boston, and they're also going to beat Boston in 6. Yep, 6-game series. Boston fails to Atlanta. Ronald Acuna actually contributes and gets the World Series ring he deserves. The Braves are World Series champions. The Dodgers just spent $1 billion for no reason. Juan Soto got $765 million for what? Yes, I said it. Come at me. Those are my crazy predictions. You might call them bold, you might call them not bold, but those are my crazy bold predictions for this upcoming 2025 season for Major League Baseball. I could not be more excited. It is going to be so entertaining. Baseball is here, guys. Let's get it! Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Like I said, the madness has been absolutely insane. If that's what, like I said before, the round of 64 and the round of 32 has for us, I cannot wait for the Sweet 16. It is going to be just as thrilling. Baseball's 3 days away. In next week's episode, guys, we're going to be talking about the Sweet 16. We might be talking about opening day. I'm beyond excited for future episodes. Leave a like, leave a follow, comment if you guys have any video suggestions, and I'll catch y'all later.